Most people follow advice that sounds reasonable until it's too late. Not all advice is wisdom. Sometimes it's a trap in disguise. Let me ask you something Jim Rohn might say. If that advice really works, why is the person giving it still broke? Jim Rohn didn't sugarcoat reality. He believed that the gap between wealth and struggle is often shaped by the ideas we accept without challenge. Popular sayings like, "Money doesn't buy happiness," "Just work hard and you'll be rewarded," or "Don't worry so much about money," are often treated as universal truths. But what if they're part of the problem? This video gets straight to the point, exposing the dangerous advice that keeps you poor. Not the kind of advice that occasionally misses the mark, but the kind that fails consistently across generations. Jim would say, if you do what everyone else does, you'll get what everyone else gets. It's time to stop following comfortable advice and start thinking like someone who has actually built wealth. Get ready to confront the ideas you've held onto for years, the very ones that may be quietly holding you back, because the real danger isn't a lack of opportunity. The real danger is the wrong advice. Bad advice doesn't just waste your time. It shapes your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your future. Financial struggle is rarely just about income. It's often the result of deeply ingrained beliefs passed down from parents, teachers, and even well-meaning friends. Beliefs that sound noble but quietly sabotage your potential. This isn't just theory, it's reality. According to a recent survey by the National Financial Educators Council, the average American lost over $1,800 in 2023 due to a lack of financial knowledge. That's not about market crashes or job losses. That's about mindset, about decisions made based on what sounded right instead of what was right. Jim Rohn understood that wealth isn't only built with money, it's built with philosophy. And while most people chase tactics and tips, the real breakthrough comes when you stop accepting poor advice disguised as wisdom. You've probably heard phrases like, "Just be grateful for what you have." "Money isn't everything." "Don't talk about money, it's rude." But here's the truth, those ideas might be keeping you exactly where you are. By the end of this video, you'll recognize the most common pieces of advice that quietly destroy your financial potential, and you'll learn how to replace them with thinking that builds real, lasting wealth. The wrong philosophy, followed consistently, leads to a predictable disaster. This is where most people get trapped, not by bad luck, but by bad thinking repeated over time. It's not the economy, it's not your boss, it's not the government, it's your philosophy. Your invisible set of beliefs about money, success, and effort. And if that philosophy is flawed, no amount of hard work will save you. One of the most dangerous mental patterns is this: as long as I work hard, everything will eventually work out. It sounds noble, it feels right, but it's not complete. And often it's flat out wrong. You see it everywhere. People clocking in every day, showing up on time, staying late, believing that one day someone will notice and reward them. But years go by and nothing changes. No promotion, no financial breakthrough, just more of the same. Stress, debt, and disappointment. That's the trap. The assumption that effort alone equals reward. But as Jim Rohn said, you can't just get through life with hard work. You need the right plan. Think of it like rowing a boat in the wrong direction. You might be paddling with all your strength, sweating, giving your all. But if you're facing the wrong way, you're just getting farther from where you want to be. Effort without direction leads to exhaustion, not success. This mental pattern shows up in simple, daily choices. You avoid learning about money because it feels overwhelming. You say yes to every task at work, hoping it will lead to recognition. You feel guilty wanting more, because you were taught that ambition is selfish. You trust advice from people who are struggling just like you, because you don't want to seem arrogant or too good. And worst of all, you dismiss the idea that your mindset is the real problem. But Jim Rohn put it clearly: if you don't like where you are, change it. You're not a tree. Most people don't need to work harder. They need to think differently. And until that shift happens, no amount of motivation will move the needle. This video is here to expose those invisible traps and help you break free. The most dangerous ideas are the ones you never question, because they don't feel like ideas. They feel like common sense. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through social media, and stay poor, not because of the phone, but because of the mindset that built your routine. This destructive pattern doesn't start in adulthood. It's planted early, In childhood, at the dinner table, in classrooms, through the quiet repetition of cultural norms, you hear things like, rich people are greedy, money doesn't grow on trees, just get a stable job and be grateful. At first it's just words, but over time, those words shape your worldview. You begin to believe that wealth is suspicious, ambition is selfish, and that wanting more means you're ungrateful. So instead of building wealth, you build habits that protect your comfort zone, not your future. Imagine this scene. You're 28. You have a job. It pays okay. Every morning you wake up already tired. You scroll through motivational posts. You nod when someone says money isn't everything. You tell yourself that one day it'll all come together. But deep down you're stuck. Not because you're lazy, but because you've been trained to survive, not to build. Jim Rohn once said, "Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune." But schools rarely teach self-education. They teach obedience, not opportunity. And your social circle? Often full of people who silently reinforce your limits. No one talks about money, because no one really understands it. And fear plays its part. Fear of judgment if you aim higher. Fear of failure if you try something new. Fear of outgrowing the people around you. So instead of acting, you shrink your dreams to fit your surroundings. You stay in the job. You ignore the idea. You avoid the risk. Until one day, comfort becomes a cage. Here's the hard truth. What feels normal to you might be the very thing keeping you poor. Not because it's evil, but because it's invisible, and once you see that, you can't unsee it. Winners think like this. If advice is common, the results probably are too. The shift starts when you stop asking, "Does this sound nice?" and start asking, "Does this actually work?" You've been taught to value effort over strategy, but successful people value both, and they start with the right mindset. They know that money isn't a result of working harder, it's a result of thinking smarter. Winners don't see wealth as luck or inheritance. They see it as the result of decisions, beliefs, and patterns, most of them mental, not physical. While others say, "I can't afford that," winners ask, "How can I afford that?" While most settle for survival, winners focus on building systems that create leverage. While others look for security, winners study value, because money always follows value. And when your thinking shifts like this, your behavior follows, without force. You stop scrolling for motivation and start scheduling learning. You stop waiting for a raise and start creating new income streams. You stop playing defense with your money and start playing offense with your vision. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about undoing years of mental programming that never served you. Jim Rohn put it this way: don't ask for things to be easier. Ask for you to be better. Because when you change the way you think, the world doesn't have to change. You do. It's like flipping a lens. Suddenly, you see what was always there. Opportunities, strategies, leverage points. You were blind to them because your mind wasn't ready. Now it is. Here's the metaphor. Most people are like farmers planting seeds in concrete, working hard, watering daily, hoping something grows. Winners first check the soil. They prepare it. They choose wisely. They don't just act, and they think, and that's the difference. Common advice gets you effort. Clear thinking gets you results. You've shifted the way you think. Now it's time to act like it. Say no, walk away, invest it. This is how you start living with a builder's mindset, not a survivor's. It's not about doing more. It's about doing different. Small, intentional changes in your routine, money habits, and decision-making create massive momentum over time. 1. In your routine, own your mornings. Stop waking up reacting to the world. No more phone-first mornings. No more scrolling through other people's lives before you've started your own. Instead, wake up 30 minutes earlier. Read 5 pages of a book that builds your mind. Write down one idea every morning that could create income or solve a problem. Winners don't wait for clarity. They create it daily. 2. In your money, stop spending to feel better. Start investing to get better. The average person gets a paycheck and thinks, "What can I buy?" The new mindset asks, "What can I build?" Next time money comes in, pause. Don't rush to reward yourself. Instead, take 10% and put it in an investment account. Consistently, buy an online course that teaches you a real skill, not just motivation. Cancel subscriptions you don't use and redirect that money to your future. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how intentionally you use it. 3. In your decisions, stop asking what's safe. Ask what moves you forward. That job that drains you? Walk away, or at least build an exit plan. That friend who mocks your ambition? Set a boundary. That idea you've been sitting on? Start today. Even if it's messy, you don't need permission to change your life. You need a decision. Jim Rohn said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." These actions, small, uncomfortable, consistent, are that bridge. Because when you start choosing habits that build the life you want, instead of maintaining the one you've outgrown, things shift. Quietly at first, then permanently. This is where freedom starts. Not in some distant goal, but in the moment you stop accepting survival and start living with strategy. Now it's your turn to get uncomfortably honest. Ask yourself, whose advice have I been following and where has it led me? Am I working hard or am I working smart? What beliefs about money have I never questioned? And are they even true? What am I tolerating today that's quietly stealing my future? If I keep thinking and acting this way, where will I be in 5 years? Don't rush past these questions. Sit with them. Only you can answer that. But you must. Here's what I want you to do. Take 5 minutes. 1 page. No distractions. Write the truth. Not what sounds good, not what you wish was true. The real answers. Be raw. Be direct. No one will read it but you. Start with this sentence. The advice I've accepted without thinking is, and let it flow. Then write. If I replaced that advice with a mindset of ownership and value, I would. This isn't about guilt. It's about clarity. You can't change what you won't confront. Jim Rohn once said, "The major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become. And what you become starts with what you believe, then what you do about it." So pause the noise, answer the questions, and start thinking like someone who's ready to lead their own life. The difference between a life of quiet struggle and a life of steady growth isn't luck, it's mindset. And mindset is shaped every day by the thoughts you allow, the advice you follow, and the actions you repeat. Jim Rohn said it best, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. No dramatic overhaul, no overnight miracle. Just a quiet shift in how you think, how you decide, and how you show up." You've heard the dangerous advice. You've seen how it hides in everyday routines. Now you have a new way to think and simple ways to act on it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to question, to shift, to grow. What thought are you letting control your future? Leave it in the comments. Someone else might need to see it too. Thanks for watching. And remember, change doesn't begin with the world. It begins with you.